Hello, everyone, and welcome back, Annie and Alan. And we are going to answer, if possible, some simple questions about learning and growing. That is our topic for today. So, Annie, you can go first, and then we will ask Alan his opinion too. Annie, what are your best strategies to increase your learning efficiency? So when you have to learn something, what do you do, or how do you do it?
Okay. What are your best strategies to increase your learning efficiency? So I think I'm going to relate this question to my situation now about English. So my strategies, the best strategies for me to increase my learning English especially is by immerse myself, to engage myself, and that in another word I can say to put in practice and to engage myself in such conversation, to be proactive, include myself in that situation. I mean, directly get in touch with the real situation. It just helps me a lot to increase my learning English so far, instead of by autodidactly, because I need a speaking partner and I have to immerse myself into it. Yeah, that's my strategy, the best one, I guess.
Right, so you try and bring your learning experience alive by taking part and by doing different activities to be able to practice what you have maybe listened to or read about, and that makes learning more pleasurable. And you, Alan, when you have to learn something, do you have any strategies?
Well, for me, I find I'll call it self-learning or self-study. I find that difficult for me. I mean, I've used various programs, and it's a case of repetition, isn't it? Repeating either words or whatever. I think it's the understanding is the most important, and I prefer to be taught just as I would as a student in a class. I find I gain more from that than I do self-study, so to speak. I find I'm not very well self-motivated for self-learning. So for me, I'd sooner attend a class and be given the skills or taught what I need to do.
Right, so self-learning, you find that too difficult to do by yourself, and you prefer to take part or assist a class. So you are guided on what is useful and then put it into practice in your class. Right, okay. I think listening and reading are very useful, but then we need
I find the doing is more important to me.
Yes, so taking part is more important than the
doing has
theory.
Much more impact on me than just listening. You know, I can't retain it all. Right. But if I actually do something, write something down, then it stays in my brain.
Yeah, so we need to find different strategies. For example, if we write it on a piece of paper or in a notebook, and then we put it into practice, then we come back to it. So repetition is very important, and practicing daily is important. Annie, are you a quick or slow learner?
Oh, are you a quick or a slow learner? I cannot put myself in this side, maybe quick or slow. It depends on the level of the difficulties of some stuff. So for example, if I learn something which needs a lot of practice, I think I have you know, sometimes about something which is medium level, I think I tend to be a quick learner, but if it is something difficult, it takes time for me, not that really quick. So how to describe myself then?
Right, so it depends on what you're actually learning and the level that you are learning. So if it's something which is accessible for you and it's not too difficult, you could be quick. But
Yes.
if you're having difficulty or it's complicated, it takes you time. So you have to do it, come back, stop, and it takes you a lot longer if it's difficult. And you, Alan, how do you classify yourself?
Well, again, I'm a slow learner. Let's put it this way, I'm not an academic. My skills are more with my hands than with my brain on the academic side. So I've always struggled a bit, really. I didn't have a particularly high education. It was very ordinary. And of course, in those days, we didn't get the variety of teaching and subjects that we get nowadays. So I missed out a lot, really, if I'm being really honest. And I wish I could have gone on to perhaps further education, but I didn't have the background or the knowledge to do that. So
Yes.
I went into vocational training. And
Yes,
I taught more when I attended technical college at the age of 18 onwards. I learned more in those few years than I did in the whole of my school years from 5 to the age of 15 when we left school.
Yeah. So in our generation, Alan, we did more technical learning.
Yes, absolutely.
By going to college more than theory. And now things have changed. So maybe if you had to go back to school now, your learning experience, yeah, it would be different, no? But also, I think if we are hard workers and we are constant in learning, we could learn more than a person who is more intelligent than us.
Absolutely.
Or they're very good in theory.
Yes. Yes.
So hard work is very important, and consistency. Right, Annie, do you find it difficult to focus on studying?
All right. Do you find it difficult to focus on studying? Yes, for my personally, yes, because I get distracted so easily when the environment messed up. So I get really distracted and something like disorganized also distract my concentration. Of course, I get get irritated so easily. So I cannot focus when someone like knocking the door. There is noise outside there. So no.
Yeah, so you're easily distracted. Was that the same when you were a teenager, or just now, or all your life you've been distracted?
Yes, since the teenagers, yes.
So, and now you haven't changed, you're still the same?
Still the same, yeah.
Okay, I'm finding it harder to concentrate and focus in the last few years, and especially since the pandemic. My mind jumps from one thing to the other, and I can't stay with something more than 10 minutes. And then I want to change and I want to do something else. So maybe I'm more nervous now, I'm not sure, but I find it hard to concentrate now. And so I think I would find it very difficult to study. If I had to study, I would find it difficult. And you, Alan, how do you find it?
Yes, I don't say it's, I don't find it easy. I mean, I'm in a golden position really because I've got no distractions or family to, things I've got to tend to. So really I've got it's all going for me, but I can only really concentrate for maybe 10, 15 minutes. Beyond that, I start to go into meltdown, as we call it. I just can't take any more. And so I think you've got to be really interested in the subject or whatever it is you're studying. If you haven't got that or the motivation, then you quickly dwindle, you just simply lose interest and it dies. So unless the topic is really interesting to me, I will stick at it for maybe half an hour at the very most. But beyond that, I can't take any more.
Yeah, and also I think technology has made our brain active in a different way, that we can't focus. We need to jump from one topic to another through technology. Annie, why did you start learning English? An old question we have said many times, or asked, sorry, many times.
Why did you start learning English? Actually, English. I really falls for English since the beginning, since I was kid. But then, as like people did as well. We couldn't speak when get out from school, and then I'm vacuum for years, and then afterward I got back in the saddle and continue learning. Why I start to learn again? Because I found that English is really interesting to me. A lot of vocabularies, kind of an art. Also, different stage. I mean, different environment, like newspaper, different what is it? Different style in expressing yourself in English. So it is like eye-catching to me instead of another languages. So
Right.
I find this way. Yeah.
So you started first at school, and then, like most people, you stopped, and then your interest was rekindled again, and you started to take an interest, and now your life has enabled you to focus on all different kinds of styles of English, and you find it quite interesting. You're quite passionate about learning English, all the different styles and forms. And you, Alan, do you find it, why did you start learning Spanish maybe, or another language? Because English is your first
well,
one.
because I've got the advantage with English because I am from the UK, but here I am now in Spain, and I'm now in the same position as you are learning English, because I need to learn the Spanish so that I can communicate. So really, the moment I came to Spain in 2009, I did religiously sit down on a regular basis, and I attended classes. First, I started learning the language on a one-to-one basis, but that became a little bit expensive, so I joined a group. But for whatever reason, again, because of hearing problems, it didn't suit me in a group. And I would sooner learn the language from programs on the computer. And there are so many available. I mean, the internet has been an absolute godsend for me. So in a way, I'm learning the language, self-taught, if you like, from programs on the computer. However, I would love to have a speaking partner, preferably somebody from Spain that can speak English also. Because if it's Spanish only, then I have difficulty in understanding if they want to ask the question. So really, yes, I do admire you all for taking on English, because it's not an easy language, no more than I find Spanish also is difficult. But there we are. You can only get out of it what you put into it.
Yeah.
You reap what you sow, as we say.
Yeah.
And I haven't put a lot into it, to be honest. I tend to be a bit lazy. It's probably because I'm retired now, and I don't particularly want to have, I won't call it stress, but I don't particularly want to have anything that I have to work at. I just feel now I want to retire gracefully and not do very much, if you like. But that's not helping me with my Spanish.
Right, so you don't want an obligation.
But not as much as I ought to.
Right, you don't want to be obligated to study every day. A question, where you are living, is it necessary to be able to speak Spanish, or you can get by with just speaking English?
Oh, I do get by. I have learned quite a bit. I've over 1,000 words, and I can put them together to make a sentence, but very limited. So enough to get by, but I'd love to be fluent so that I can have a conversation with people.
I learned my Spanish on the television, because when I came here, I didn't speak a word of Spanish, and there was no internet and things like that. So I used to sit there in front of the television and watch a traditional series. And more or less you could pick up some words slowly. And then after some time, I did start to speak to people. But hearing is very important. I find it difficult for me because my hearing isn't very good, and sometimes I don't catch the exact pronunciation of the words because I have 50% lacking of hearing. So hearing is very important, believe it or not, to be able to catch the exact pronunciation of the words, no?
Yes.
Right, Annie, the next one. Do you prefer to spend your time practicing, reading, listening, speaking, or writing? So which activity do you prefer to do in English?
I prefer to listening. Most of my time I spend on listening practice, especially yes on YouTube, podcasts, or anything. By listening, I think it's more easier to me to understand, especially listening to many variety of accents. It helps me a lot to improve my listening skill and to understand different kind of accents. Yeah.
This is a good point. Some people think that they need to listen to an American or a British accent. But once you get to intermediate level, I think variety is the spice of life. I think it's a good idea to try to listen to different accents of people who speak English. And it can give you more confidence because not everybody is going to speak the same. So you prefer listening and then speaking. Reading, I don't think you do very often. I don't know why.
You got me.
And Alan, what about you? What do you prefer to do?
Turning it the other way around, me trying to learn Spanish or Espanol, as they say, speaking is 95% of what I want to do is the speaking. I must admit, I don't write in Espanol. I do listen, and I certainly do some reading, but the majority of what I'm trying to learn is the speaking.
Yes.
But unfortunately, I'm told that Spanish is the second fastest spoken language in the world. So you cannot learn Spanish by listening to the local people. Unless you have a dedicated tutor in front of you who knows the problems in learning the language, the speed at which you speak is the most important. And I've always said this to people that I talk to. If they speak too fast, there is no chance of you picking up the language, the vocabulary.
That is so true. Because Alan, you and I live in the south. I live in the north of Africa, but I'm near the south of Spain.
Yeah.
And they speak very quickly.
Yes.
And another habit they have is they string the words together and they cut off the end.
Cut the corner. Oh, yeah. A combination of those and you've had it. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So when a normal person, as you said, a local is speaking, he's speaking with a local accent.
Yes.
He's speaking very fast and they love to eat their words. So it's a combination of that. So maybe we will buy you a t-shirt, Alan, which says speak slowly or something like that. So you will not have to say anything and they will see that straight away and they will take that into consideration. So Annie and Anna, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with me about learning and growing. Okay, then. See you another time.
Indeed. Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.